Okay, welcome to part 2 of our review for the alternate MCA assessment. Again, I pause the video and try these questions before watching the solutions. Okay, so area here, I think the key is to divide this up into like 3 rectangles, and you could either draw a line this way or this way. I don't think it really matters, but maybe I'll just draw it down here. So if we do that, let's see, we will get this rectangle would be 6 by 9, so this is going to be 54 square feet. And then this little rectangle will be 3 by 3, I think, even though it doesn't really look like it. But if this is 9 and this is 12, this must be a 3. So this would be 9 square feet. And then the final thing would be to figure out the area of the circle, and it's just a quarter circle. So basically the area of a circle is pi radius squared, but then we got to take that divided by 4 times a fourth. So it looks like our radius is going to be 3 by the look of it. So we would do pi times 3 squared. So that's going to be 9 pi. And then divided by 4 because it's a fourth. So that's the circle. So we just do the circle plus 9 and 54. So I think that's 63. So that's kind of an expression for our area. And, you know, if you really want a decimal, we could do it on our calculator quick. So we get 7.1 plus 63. And that comes out to be 70.1 for our area. I guess it's not drawn to scale, so it makes sense that this doesn't look like a square when it really should. Okay. Next up. So this one's a tricky one, but my hint here would be I would draw a picture of this. Like I would just make a small rectangle with an area of 12 feet, 12 square feet. And then you could just make up some sides. It could be like 6 and 2, maybe. Maybe let's do 2 and 6. And then the scale factor is 1 to 3. So see if you can make some sense of it from there before continuing. All right, so basically this scale factor 1 to 3 means these dimensions get tripled. So I'm going to redraw this as best as I can, which is not very well. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, there's a rectangle. And so now this side got tripled, so this is now 6, and this side got tripled too, so this is now 18. Okay, so now the area would be 6 times 18, which would be 60 plus 48. I think that's 108 square feet. Okay, and so then basically we could say, how many times bigger is that? So if you do 108 divided by 12, I think you get 9. So it's basically 9 times more area. And so the kind of the rule here is basically if you have like a scale factor or a ratio of length, and you want to do a ratio of area, you have to square these numbers. So the area ratio, instead of being 1 to 3, will be 1 squared over 3 squared, which is 1 to 9. Okay, so basically it's 9 times as much. And then, that's kind of silly, but the actual answer was just what's the area of the bigger rectangle. So it's 9 times as much, which makes it 109 square feet. But I would definitely draw this picture, right? Like this stuff down here is hard to remember, but if I just triple the sides and say, oh, what's the new area? Oh yeah, it's 108. Okay, equation for a circle. So I put the circle equation here, and your job is just to, see if you remember how to do this. Okay, so in the circle equation, r is the radius, not surprisingly, and then h and k are the coordinates of the center. Like h is the x coordinate of the center, and k is the y coordinate of the center. So here to do the equation, you just plug them in. It's just x minus 3 quantity squared, and then y minus negative 1 quantity squared equals the radius of 2 squared. And usually they'll clean this up. So they'll leave that, but then the minus negative will become a plus, and then square the radius to get 4. And again, it ends up being sort of opposite. If this is negative, you get a plus here because you minus negative. And that's it. That's our equation for a circle that has that center and has that radius. Okay, next up is a matrix. So we've got a 3 by 2. This is a 2 by 3. 2 rows by 3 columns. And you're adding with another 2 by 3. So see if you remember how to add these. Okay, so our answer is another 2 by 3 matrix, and you just add the entries. So upper left and upper left, just add those. That's -8. And then the next one over, this one and this one are in the same spot, so add them to get 11. And then -2 and +2 add up to 0, and then you just keep going. And so hopefully I can highlight them here, but that's going to be -2 when you add them. This one and this one is going to be -1, and then 6 plus -1 is 5. And so there's your new answer once you add the matrices together. And it's same for subtract. You just, do the same thing. Subtract the corresponding entries. Okay, exponential. So see if you can figure out here. This is how YouTube does sometimes work. If you think of, you guys might be too young to remember like Gangnam Style or some of those videos, but they just explode in popularity. So your video gets 10 views the first day, but then going forward, the amount of views doubles. What is the current equation relating the days to total views? So see if you can figure out which one of these. Okay, so it's kind of tempting to think that like if you're timesing by 2, you would do like ×2 d days or something. But it's basically like if I make a little chart here, this might help us a little bit understand this. On the first day we get 10 views, and then on the second day we have 10 times 2 views, and then on the third day we have 10 times 2 times 2 again. Okay, and then on the fourth day we have 10 times 2 times 2, and then times 2 another time. And so if we kind of clean these up, this one, day 2, is 10 times 2 to the first. Day 3 is 10 times 2 squared. And day 4 is 10 times 2 cubed. Okay, so each time you're getting one more times 2, which means it's going to be either like A or B, because your exponent is increasing by 1. And kind of the trick is like if we think about day N or day D, I guess, this exponent is 1 less than whatever the day is. So on day D, it's 10 times 2, 10 times 2 to the D minus 1, because on the first day it hasn't doubled yet. So on day 2 it's only doubled once. So you end up with that is 10 times 2 to the D minus 1. Okay, this is another example of an exponential because we're increasing by 5% per year. And the exponential equation, remember, for the amount looks like that. So I want to see if you can apply that in this situation. Okay, so I'm just reading this over and I realize this question's kind of poor because like after 10 years, has he got 10 raises or 9 raises? Yeah, I feel like that's kind of tricky to know. Maybe I should have put at the start of the 11th year or something like that. I don't know. But basically the idea is this is little a is the starting amount. R you got to do as a decimal. So 5%, just move it over twice. So the rate is 0.05. And then the time in years is generally this 10 will just be 10. Like how many years? 10 years down the road. Probably should have put at the start of the 11th year. But anyways, it would look something like that. And then you just do it on your calculator to figure out how much Mr. Phelps is going to be making here. So 25,000, 1.05, hat thing, 10. Okay, and it's not bad, 40,722. Not bad for a circus clown. I happen to know Mr. Phelps has always wanted to be a circus clown. Okay, next up, next geometry teacher here, we got Mr. Webb. He's got 4 marble figures, 5 Capcom, 10 that are neither marble or Capcom. He draws a figure at random to play with. What's the probability the figure is not a marble figure? Pause the video and see if it can make some sense. Okay, so probability is just the favorable options over the total. Okay, so the total option is all of these added together, which I think is 19 figurines. And then not marble is everyone except these 4. So it's the 5 and the 10. So we add those together, you have 15 that are non-marble. So his chances of getting in not marble is 15 out of 19. Okay, now he's going to go battle another geometry teacher here, Mrs. DeLuca, and he has his 19 figurines again, but he only can place 4 on the board. And how many different ways can you arrange 4 of his figures? And when I mean arrange, it means he's like ordering them like in a way. He wants to beat Mrs. DeLuca, so he's going to try to strategize how he arranges them, which means he wants to probably put some baller or strong warriors here in the front. So, okay. Hopefully I had a chance to try it. So this is an example of like that idea of permutations or combinations when you're picking like 4 out of 19. So you're picking so many out of one category. It's either permutations or combinations. And the difference is if the order matters or not. So here order matters because he wants to win this battle. So he needs to put them in a way that'll give his warriors the best chance to win. And when they say arrange or arranging, that normally means order matters. Okay, so this one is just 19p4, where you put the bigger number here. You could also have done, he has 19 choices for his first spot, then 18 choices for the next one, and then 17, and then he's only got 16 left for that 4th spot. So you can do either one of these, but either one should equal 93,024. Okay, a lot of random stuff here because there's a lot of things to cover. But next up are the asymptotes. So just to review here quick is when you have like a number over x like this, you get like what's called like a ninja star graph. So the basic one looks like this, and the asymptotes are y equals 0 and x equals 0, which are basically the x and y axis. But this one's going to shift around a little bit. So this is the sort of the parent shape, but then shift this one around and see if you can figure out the new asymptote. All right, so the 4 stretches here, but that really doesn't matter as far as asymptotes go. But this does matter. So that means we go right 2, and this number in the back means we go down 3. So I'm going to go right 2, down 3, and then just draw in my ninja star shape. Not ninja star, I'm going to draw a plus symbol, I guess. And then I'm going to draw the ninja star around that. So that's your vertical asymptote, and that's actually just x equals 2. And then your horizontal is this one, which would just be y equals -3. And I kind of look, it's cutting the y-axis at -3, and that's how I remember that. And then technically the shape would be stretched a little bit. So it looks something like that, just stretched out a little bit from the asymptotes. But the main thing would be the vertical asymptote is this, and then the horizontal asymptote is that one. Okay, one more transformation one, and you don't really have to sketch it out. You just have to know the transformations. And just as a review, the square root of x actually looks like this. It's a parabola, kind of half a parabola turned sideways. All right, and you can use your calculator if you forget what this looks like, but hopefully you know your transformations at this point. Okay, so the number in the back is up or down. So this one's just not down. That one's up 3. That's normal. And then the inside is opposite. You think -1 would make us go left 1, but that actually makes us go right 1. Okay, and then this 2, since it's more than 1, that's going to be a stretch. If it's like 1/2 or 0.2, then it's a compression. But this is just going to be a stretch by 2. And it says just how is it different. So you just have to list these transformations. We could draw it if we really wanted, but that's the main thing, is just list them. So if you want to see a picture, I guess, right 1, up 3, like that, and then a stretch by 2 would just make it kind of go up faster than it did before.